The haters are out.
Illustrations by me.
Now in this video, I am going to pick the winner for the markers. That's fine, we're gonna do that later. Right now, I had to address something. You know, I didn't have many haters this round, and all of a sudden, just before I'm ready to record this video, I get, well, a couple days ago, I get someone who actually shows their head and they said, hey, I hate you. No, they didn't say that. Here's what they actually said. Cover your desk or get a junk desk and paint for real. Let me tell you what that's about. So you remember 2022, I think it was, I had this video, I'll put the thumbnail right here. It was my favorite art supplies, and I was going through things and I mentioned a water brush. Now you would have thought that I just took off someone's shoe, took off their sock, and stubbed their toe into the corner of a desk. Anytime I mention a water brush, artists hate, I don't know what this is, but there are some group of artists, they absolutely hate water brushes. They will blame everything on the water brush, and they say the only thing you can actually use is a regular watercolor bristle brush. That's what you should use. Now, I'm not saying, I don't care if you use one of these. I don't care if you use a regular brush. I have a whole shelf of regular brushes. I use them a lot. As a matter of fact, coming up here in a couple videos, the most unique watercolor brush I've ever seen in my life. And it's a bristle brush, and I will show you how to use it. It's coming up in a couple videos. It was a lot of fun. I enjoy it. But I've learned to use these from the beginning of when I got back into art back in about 2015. That's like 10 years now, my goodness. Anyway, I started using these and I enjoy them. I like using these. Let me show you why. Okay, so you see here, oh, let me get you, okay. Okay, so you see here, there's water in here. It's full in the reservoir. And then you touch it to the paper and you'll see the water leak. See, it's going away, it's dissolving out of there, it's leaking through and going through the tip, and now you have what's known as a dry brush. Now, here's what you can do with that. When you squeeze it again, well, let me do this first. So when you squeeze it again, you see it fill up with water. See it fill up with water again? Now there's water all in there again as I squeeze it. Now you don't squeeze it while you're using it, you squeeze it to rinse it. Let me show you. Okay, so you want this a little bit drier. So I'm gonna dab it off a little bit. And you want some water in there, but not soaking wet. So you see some water in there, but it's not soaking wet. It's not a real damp brush. Unless the paint is completely dry, then you would want that. So I'm gonna come down here and put some color on it, just like that. And I'm gonna show you. Now, look, I can paint with it, right? It's painting, the paint is on there. But if I wanna get rid of that paint, you squeeze it, the water comes through just like that, and now you just wipe it off. Everything's wonderful, you wipe it off, and now you see there's no more paint coming off because it's completely washed out. It's a self-washing brush, and that's one of the benefits of it. Okay, now I have nothing against regular water brushes, watercolor brushes. Okay, I said in that video that I like to use these on this desk because it's a paper desk. It's fiberboard covered with a layer of paper. And if you get it wet, it will be destroyed. It will come off whatever. And people always yell. So this is that. This is a thing that I get almost, I'd say like once a month. People hate on these. Cover your desk or get a junk desk and paint for real. Well, I would like them to know that I am painting for real. I can get the exact same. This is also with granulating paints. I will paint with a water brush and people say, oh, you didn't get a good result because you painted with a water brush. I get the exact same results from every painting I do, whether I'm using a water brush or a watercolor brush, a traditional one. I can get the exact same results. I have no problem with it. Everything works fine. If I use a paint and I'm not getting the result I want, it wouldn't matter if I used a water brush or if I used a watercolor brush. Most of the times when you see me use the water brush, I do go test it with a regular brush to make sure I'm not making an error. I'm not saying I'm not making an error. That's not true at all. I could definitely be usually I'm the one making the error. But the thing is, it's not because of the brush I'm using. Just like when people say, oh, you don't use enough water, and that's why you can't see the granulation in the paint. People always love to say that. The problem with that is, if I take it concentrated and I put it down on paper, you use rough paper, you can see the granulation even without it being diluted. Then you can dilute it and see more granulation. Or you can do wet into wet and the colors separate even more. There's a bunch of different things you can do. That's all fine. But it's not the fault of a water brush. Water brushes work just fine. There's nothing wrong with them. And now you may not like them. That's fine. You don't have to use them. You don't have to like them. And you may say, well, you know what? I never really knew how to use one before. I get that comment at least once a month as well on a water brush video when I show people how to use it. They always say, oh, I had no idea that's how you use a water brush. I have one. I've had one for a long time. I've never known how to use it. And that's how you use it. And okay, that's wonderful. But that doesn't mean you have to use it. It doesn't, if you can paint with if you learn how to paint with anything, you will be able to paint with that thing. It doesn't matter what it is. I've used a toothpick to paint with watercolor before. I've used a palette knife to paint with watercolor before. It doesn't matter what you're using. If you spend enough time with anything, any art supply, you will learn how to use that art supply. It doesn't matter what it is. So it's that elitism, that hey, these gatekeepers that you have to use this specific thing, this specific way, otherwise you're not really an artist, you're not really doing real art. I just saw something else that was I'm not going to go into it because there's probably everybody watches this person and they commented on the difference between art and illustrations, and that they're very different based on their intent because one's used to sell something. But I said I wasn't going to mention that. Anyway, don't worry. None of that stuff is happening. None of that stuff is real. That's like saying people who do crafts, they don't do art. Someone said that comment too. Oh, that people mistake art for, or crafts for art and art for crafts. No, you guess what? If you're creating something, it's art. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you're gluing pebbles on top of each other. If it's something you're creating, you're an artist. You're creating art. Just like someone who does dance. That person's creating art. And that's not used a paintbrush at all. You're dancing. And if you do use a paintbrush while you dance, I want to see that. But you create music. That's art. If you create crafts with string and you do the string with the pegboard thing and you're going around the string art, that's art. If you do the paper crafting art, that's art. It's all art. All it is an expression. And I don't care what anybody says. Whether you're doing an illustration or what people want to call an illustration, or you're doing fine art, either way, you're communicating something. That's all it is. All my art is communicating is that, hey, is this interesting to look at? That's the only thing I want to know. There's nothing else. So people say, oh no, fine art conveys emotion and feeling. No, sometimes it just says, is this interesting? I guess technically that could be an emotion or a feeling saying, oh, I think that's interesting. It piques something. That's a conversation. That's fine. But it doesn't always have to be about the struggle of it's not about that. It's about whatever it's about. And usually I don't care what it's about. Usually I want to look at something. If it's interesting to look at, to me, that's interesting art. It doesn't matter if it's an illustration. I don't care if a kid does it with crayon. It doesn't matter. If it's interesting to look at, that's all I care about for good art. Everything is art though. You create something, it's art. Don't let anybody tell you that what you're doing because of the tools you're using or because of what you call it or because they consider it a craft or an illustration, that is not art. It's art. Now someone says, well, yeah, it could be art, but it's not fine art. you know what? Take that idea right there, you turn it just a little bit and shove it up your nose though. Don't do anything weird with it. But that's it. It doesn't matter. It's art. Fine art, what is that? I understand you look at the old masters that were painters and they did certain things and you call that fine art. That's fine. But I know people who do digital art. I would say that that's fine art. They've created something, it's beautiful to them, they've expressed themselves the way they want to, and they will have a group of people who look at it and say, hey, I get it. That you've communicated. That's all it is fine art. It's like well, you do art, but I do fine art. My art is fine. Yours is not, yours is okay, but mine's fine. That's ridiculous. Or someone, oh, it's illustration. That's not fine art. That's an illustration. That's ridiculous. It's art. It doesn't matter. You have to continuously break everything down and try and separate everything. That's the problem with everything now. All we try and do is separate everything. You're this and you're that and I'm this and you don't know me because I'm doing this and Listen, it's art. I have gone on way too long. Okay, so let me pick the winner here from the hat, and I will do that, and I'm not angry at all, but I am sweating because it is hot here. I put the air on, but it's not up here. It's not the same temperature as it is where the thermostat is, and I'm sweating. Anyway, here's the pick here. We're gonna pick this person here. This person is going to get the acrylic markers, and so that's wonderful for them. Okay, I'm not looking, and I'm showing you, oh, I just dropped it into my soda. No, it didn't go in the can. We're okay. So here it is. Do I have to do that again? You don't believe me that I really just picked this? That's it. That's the person right there. Or this is the person right here I can't see. I don't know which way is the right way. But you know which way is the right way, right? Okay, who is this person here? Ujb. Ujb123. That is a secure password right there. So at UJB123, you won the marker. Here what I want you to do. I want you to go down below and you're going to go into the description. I've got my email there. You're going to email me. You're going to say, hey, that's me. I'm going to ask you to do something. You're going to do it. And then I'm going to say, okay, you're verified. And I will send them your information. So go down there, say, hey, it's me. And let me know your shipping information so I can say, hey, you're the person. I wonder if I can look it up on here and see who that person is and what their comment was. I won't embarrass you at all, Ujb. Oh, you did not put where you're from. Okay, so you just said, throw me in, I'd love to try them. A lot of you said, oh, I'm over here, I'm over there, and I just thought maybe it was one of those people. So I don't know where you are. Hopefully you are somewhere where you can get these markers. That's the important part. So anyway, you let me know, I'll let you know, and everybody will have a good day, including these people right here popping up on the screen here. They always have a good day. They tell me all the time. They're always having a good, every time I ask, how you doing? Oh, I'm having a great day. That's just how it is there. So thumb up the video if you are not gonna care about whether you use a water brush or any other thing. I didn't even get to the point. The point was, the reason that I used the watercolor brush and not want it, because I spill and I'll put the pots out everywhere and I'll knock over a pot of water and it'll go all over and ruin my desk. And I have electronics on this desk. It's not that I don't have a real desk. I have other desks that don't have electronics on it, and I do other things on those. But on this desk with the electronics, I don't like to have water pots everywhere, and I spill them, and then all my stuff gets ruined. So I don't like to do that. But also, because I love to use the water brush. That's the bottom line. If I want to use it, I'm going to use it. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if you want to unsubscribe. Go ahead, go and unsubscribe because you don't like water brushes. Let me tell you, I had some people unsubscribe from looking at the flip through book. They were just looking through a flip. I was doing the flip through. I finished a sketchbook. I was so happy. I said, let me show you. I'll show you the flip book. Like 3 people unsubscribed during that video. I don't understand that. I like flip throughs. And guess what? I'm going to do them again. So if you don't want to see them, you unsubscribe right now. That's what you should do. Okay. Anyway, I appreciate all of you and I hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you on Monday And the next Monday, we're going to look at a regular watercolor brush. It's the most unique thing you'll ever see. I promise you that. Well, I can't promise you that, but it's the most unique brush I've ever seen. I can promise that. How about that? Okay. Now, you would have thought that I just stabbed someone in the forehead. No, I wouldn't say this. If you would like to join our community, go to illustrationsbypete.com. You can come in, you can put your own artwork on the site and promote it. You can find some inspiration in the free reference photos. You can just use them however you want in your artwork. You do not need to credit me. Or you can come into the forums and talk to some people and maybe give some advice and maybe find a little bit of information that helps you. So come check us out. All right, that's about it for me. I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.